Hey guys, it's Sam and this is my BEA Experience Plus book haul. Yes, my voice sounds like shit because I have the post-BEA BookCon sickness. It's great. I'm really excited about it. I've had no voice for like 4 days. So bear with me. Sound a little bit different than usual. So first I'll be briefly talking about my experience with BEA and BookCon. If you want to watch a more vlog style video, I will have that linked on the screen as well as down below for you to check out because I've already put that up. But just talking about my experience overall, it's going to be the first part of this video, and then the second part will be the book haul of all the books that I did get. So I'll be linking the time on the screen to go and check out if you don't even want to hear me talking about BEA or BookCon and you just want to see the books, it'll be linked for you to go and click and go directly to that part. So I had an amazing time at BEA and BookCon. I had a great jam-packed week of things and I was not prepared for the craziness that is BEA especially. I did everything I possibly could. I looked up all the blog posts about it. I watched people's wrap-ups from last year. I did spreadsheets of my schedule, everything, but I still was not prepared for the special kind of crazy that is BEA and BookCon. So I drove in, which was really great because I could get as many books as I possibly wanted. I didn't have to worry about putting them into a suitcase or shipping them home or anything because I live about 3 hours away from New York. So I drove and stayed with 3 other booktubers, which is Riley, Shannon, and Lainey, and then Kayla came the very last day, but I didn't see her very much because I left the same day that she came. So we all kind of stayed together. I really recommend doing that if you're going to BEA or any kind of big week-long festival. Definitely stay with people. It's way cheaper that way, way easier. Just do it. I highly recommend it. So the first day of BEA was BloggerCon, and that is a whole separate part of the convention just dedicated to bloggers, just a bunch of panels and stuff. And it was informative and not at the same time. We didn't spend a lot of time at BloggerCon because it was very much like Blogger 101. I have a very small blog. It's linked down below. I put all my reviews on there. But even I knew basically everything that they were saying as far as blogging, so I imagine people who've been blogging for a long time wouldn't get much out of it. They had 2 different tracks, kind of. They had like Blogger 101 and they had more advanced blogger stuff, but even the advanced blogger stuff I didn't personally find very informative. Went to a few of the panels and just didn't find it very engaging at all. So hopefully in the future they will kind of remedy that a little bit because some of the things they were saying were just really basic and just weren't very informative really. It still got me interested in kind of revamping my blog a little bit and trying to put more time into that when I can, obviously, because with grad school and booktube I don't have a ton of time to just devote strictly to the blog. I do, as I said, post my reviews there, but not a ton of extra stuff or anything. But I was hoping to have a little more informative stuff there, and I really didn't feel like that was true. Overall, I didn't really enjoy BloggerCon. I hope in the future that it will improve. I still plan on going in the future because it is more of a blogger kind of book reviewer networking thing. But this year wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. First day of BEA, the actual exhibit hall opened at 1 o'clock, so at 1 we all end up going upstairs and trying to get into the exhibit hall. There was 2 very big lines, there was different things going on. There was a mad rush to Susan Dennard's Truthwitch because it was a ticketed event. So a lot of times you will have ticketed events where there'll be tickets handed out at the very beginning of when the exhibit hall like opens and you can go to this booth and it's outside the exhibit hall and get those tickets, etc. A lot of times you have ticketed events where you have to go and stand in line and get a ticket and then you stand kind of in that same line to continue to get booked. So that's how this first signing was. You had to go, get a ticket, there's only 100 of them, and then you have to come back later at like 3 o'clock, which is when the signing was, and get it signed. So a lot of that kind of makes craziness ensue. The in-booth signings, which is what Susan Dennard's was, are kind of a shit show. I'm not gonna lie. The in-booth signings and the in-booth galley drops can be either a finished copy of a book or most likely an arc of a book. They are a complete disaster because you want to get there early to get in line for these things, but a lot of times the publishing houses don't want you to line up early, which doesn't prevent you from lining up early. So people will be kind of hovering in unofficial lines, and then the publishing house workers will be like, this isn't a line, you need to leave. And then you leave and somebody else starts a line, and then that's all of a sudden the line, and you're like, wait, I was here first? It's a disaster. It's not fun. It's really stressful. So that kind of happened the very first day, and all the days really of BEA. Is the first day is we kind of encountered this thing where I thought we were only going to get 1 book that first day, and it was going to be Susan Dennard's Truthwitch. That was the only thing I had in my schedule. But the day of each event, they will hand out at different booths their galley drop schedule. And they don't tell you ahead of time about this at all. And then you see all these galleys that are being dropped, and they're literally being dropped. Like, they just set them out, and it's a free-for-all. It's just craziness, and they're all pretty much set out in like a book tree, usually, or just like stacked on a table, and it's all like mad chaos to get to them. It's not fun. So that first day I ended up getting like 11 books, which is insane. And it's all because of galley drops. Like, almost none of those were signed. Susan Dunner's Truthwitch was signed, but everything else was just galley drops. It's just insanity. And it's stressful. And the in-booth stuff is stressful because booths are not very big. And like I said, usually publishers don't want you around and they want you to like leave, and you're like, but this galley drop that I really want is coming up and I want to stick around, and it's just a mess. It's a mess. So day 1 was exhausting, overwhelming. Yeah. Day 2 and 3 of BEA were very similar, but we kind of had more of a game plan now. We knew we wanted to get up to all the booths when we first opened and get the galley drop schedule, and we knew how we wanted to line everything up. We knew where to go. The in-booth stuff, like I said, is more of a mess. The autographing area, which is all the tables, was a lot better because they had overflow lines. So you would get there and they would line you up for stuff, but they would put you in these overflow lines. Overflow lines are kind of in the, like, the roped off lines. So that was a lot easier because you could get there early, they would stick you in an overthrow line, they wouldn't yell at you, they wouldn't make you go away, and that was great. So I actually prefer the autographing table area because it was just less mass chaos, and it was less like jockeying for position and everything else. So I highly prefer the autographing area. The workers were nicer, everything was just overall better over there. You could get in line and you knew you were set, and it was great, and I really preferred that. So day 2 and day 3 were more of the autographing table thing, and that was really cool, and I really enjoyed that. As far as BookCon, I honestly didn't attend a lot of BookCon. BookCon, when I went, was kind of a mess. It wasn't as bad as people said it was last year, but it wasn't great, and after 3 days of BEA, I was exhausted. So I went to think about an hour of BookCon day 1 and about an hour of BookCon day 2. I didn't really see a point in being there personally because all the books that I had wanted I pretty much had gotten at BEA. The lines were insane. The panels were insane. I had a lot of panels that I wanted to check out at BookCon, but the lines for the panels were crazy. You basically had to wait in line for 2 hours to get into the panel for an hour. And it was just like, it wasn't really what I wanted to be doing with my time. The autographing lines there were crazy. You also had to buy books to get signed, which I get why they did that, but it's also like, why? And a lot of those books got sold out, so you couldn't buy a book that you wanted to get signed. I just wanted nothing to do with it, and I would have loved to watch a lot of the panels. The bigger panels were wristbanded, so you had to go and get a wristband, and if they ran out of wristbands, you couldn't go. But the smaller panels were like a wait in line situation, and some of those even ran out of room, so you'd wait in line for 2 hours and then couldn't get in. So I really wanted nothing to do with it. I ended up having lunch with Sabrina of Steakachino, which was fantastic. We went to a really amazing pizza place, like a wood oven kind of pizza place, and that was awesome. That was probably like the best food I had the entire time I was there. So yeah, not a lot of BookCon. BookCon day 2, I went only for the booktuber panel. I just wanted to see how that was going to go and everything. There was a lot of people there. It was really awesome, and it was a good time. Got to see a lot of booktubers and everything else. But again, I didn't go to much of the like actual BookCon event. And in the future, I probably won't be going to BookCon. I might go to BookCon if there's more like booktuber panels or there's booktuber meetup. I'd only go to one day of BookCon, and it'd be that day. But I'm not going to do 2 days of BookCon in the future. I am planning on going to BEA next year in Chicago. Chicago is kind of very close to my hometown, so it's kind of nice for me. And I plan on going to that. But again, I'll only be going to BEA. And then maybe the 1 day of BookCon. Maybe. But I was kind of just not very enthused with BookCon. It just seemed like at times that it was taking advantage of consumers because consumers were likely to buy stuff. Yeah. Not a ton of positive thoughts about BookCon in general. I think they could do a lot more revamping with BookCon and it could be way better. So overall, my favorite part of BEA and BookCon was meeting people. That was awesome. I loved meeting people. I loved meeting people that were booktubers or bloggers or people that watch my videos. That was awesome. It was mass chaos and craziness, but it was so fun meeting so many of you and getting to know so many of you, so that was really awesome. The other thing that was kind of bad about BEA and BookCon, though, was some of the people. Not anybody that I met or anything like that, but again, like I said, some of the publishing houses were extremely rude to people, and it was very upsetting. And it wasn't just to bloggers or booktubers, it was rude to like librarians, and a lot of other people that are at BEA are like professionals, you know, librarians, teachers, etc. And like I said, when you had people lining up, they would be really rude to you, like very condescending, like, why are you lining up so early? And you're like, because this is a book that I want and I'm trying to help you out as a publishing house by reviewing and hyping this book for you, which is what's going to happen if I get this book that I really want. So why are you being condescending at us and wondering why we're lining up so early and yelling at us for lining up so early? The in-booth stuff needs to be organized better at BEA. It does. It is a mess. They need to have these kinds of overflow lines. I understand the way the booths are set up is not really conducive to overflow, but they need something because lines would be blocking different kinds of avenues of traffic and everything within the convention, and I get that that's a huge mess, and that's why they don't want people lining up early, but you need to have something for that overflow so people can line up, because the few times we were allowed to line up early, it was beautiful. There was no chaos. Everyone stayed in line. There was no like elbowing or anything. Like, it was great. So there needs to be some kind of system within that booth area for people being able to line up so that the publishing houses aren't stressed out, because I know that the majority of them were being kind of rude because they were stressed out. I get that they're working all weekend at a very stressful event, so I understand, but there needs to be some kind of system for people lining up early and everything else, because people are going to line up early for these very anticipated galley drops or signings. So there needs to be some kind of system in booth for people so that no one's mad at each other. There's no kind of like anything crazy. There's no yelling at people to leave the area. Like, you just need to have a way of lining up better, because that just made me have some sour taste in my mouth about some different publishing houses because of the way that their employees acted towards people who were trying to get their books, which we're helping the publishers out. They're not helping us out by giving us ARCs. We're helping them out by hyping their books. So yeah, it was not the best experience as far as some of the publishing houses. Some of them are wonderful, but some of them not so much. The other thing that happened that really surprised me was a lot of the blogger, booktuber hate, kind of. I never saw booktubers bashing bloggers, but there was this weirdness with some bloggers, very few. It's a small group. Most of the bloggers that I met were awesome, and I met some people that I follow their blogs and they follow my channel, and it was great. But there was a select few that were being really rude about booktubers, and I don't know what the situation is with that. I don't know if that's former bad blood there, but if they were to look at your badge and see that you were a booktuber, their personality would completely change. They'd be very rude. They would barely talk to you. If I'm standing in line for a book of any kind, I'm talking to people around me, because you're standing in line for like an hour, you might as well, right? So if a lot of times I would be talking to a blogger or something and they'd be like, and it was very just like, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, because we are all book lovers and book reviewers doing the same thing in a different form of media. I do not understand the hate for one another when we're doing the same thing and we all love books. I do not understand. So like I said, I didn't see personally any booktubers saying anything bad about bloggers, but I did see and hear some bloggers talking bad about booktubers. It was very upsetting. I personally, before this day, didn't know any bloggers personally, so it was very upsetting to be kind of talked about kind of in a general lump when those people didn't know me and didn't know the people they were talking about, and it was just very upsetting. So I hope that in the future the blogger-booktuber relationship is better. I'm not sure where it started and what needs to be solved with that, but it's very upsetting. I personally love bloggers, and I love booktubers, and I love book people. So I don't know what the situation is there, but that was upsetting. Like I said, the majority of people that I met were awesome. Bloggers, booktubers, whatever. But there was a few kind of sour instances, and it was kind of upsetting. But overall, BEA and BookCon, mostly BEA, obviously, like I said, was a great experience. I plan on going next year. I'm very excited about it. I love book events. Book events are great, and I loved meeting all of you that I got to meet, which was really awesome. I wish I would have met more of you, but again, I probably would have met more of you at BookCon. I didn't go to BookCon because I was just wiped, and obviously if I would have gone to BookCon, I'd be probably even more sick than I am right now. So yes, now on to the books. One of the books that I was most looking forward to and managed to snag was Walk the Earth a Stranger by Rae Carson. This is the first book in her new fantasy trilogy, I believe it is, and it is set in the gold rush. It's about a girl who can sense gold in the earth, which is just an awesome ability, and it is set during the gold rush in America, which is a setting that I've never really heard about before. I recently finished her other trilogy, the Girl of Fire and Thorns trilogy, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and this one she did sign, which is very exciting, signed in gold and everything, and this one is out September 15th. I then got The Cost of All Things by Maggie Lehrman. This one I believe is already out. I think it came out the very end of May, and this is touted as a We Were Liars / Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. And I love both of those things. So this is about a girl whose boyfriend dies and she wants to erase her memories of him, so she gets some kind of like spell or something to erase her memories, and then as those memories start erasing, she starts to kind of realize that there's other things connected to those memories, and she's a little upset about losing these memories and stuff. So it sounds very interesting, something that I would really enjoy. I really loved The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, so as soon as I saw that as a synopsis point, I knew I had to get it. And this one is signed. I also got None of the Above by I.W.Gregorio. I wanted to pick this one up because the main character in here is intersex, so they are really neither male or female. They are in between. They were born with genitalia that could be considered male or female. There is a group in between on the scale of male to female that is kind of in between and neither, and that is what this main character is. So I really wanted to read this because I've never seen a book with an intersex main character, and it sounds like it's going to be really awesome, and I'm really excited. She was actually a part of the We Need Diverse Books panel, which I didn't get to see at BookCon, but I really wanted to. I just wasn't able to because, again, the panels were a little insane, but I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Hoping to read it hopefully for this month with LGBTQ month, so we will see. I also got Everything Everything by Nicola Yoon. This one was one I was really looking forward to because after Y'all West, a lot of people got this book as an ARC and I really wanted it. It is about a girl who has this really rare disease where she is basically allergic to everything, so she lives in her home, secluded from everything, has no human contact, never leaves, etc., etc. And then a family moves next door and she becomes very intrigued by them. There are 2 teenage kids in that family and she really like watches them and just kind of becomes intrigued with them and everything else, and everything kind of unfolds from there. I've already read this book and really enjoyed it. It is written in a really cute way. It's very short and there's other things included in there. There's like drawings and text messages and emails and stuff like that. So it's a really quick read. You can literally read this in one sitting if you wanted to. It was very cute, and I'll be talking about this later. This comes out September of this year. I also got Anything Could Happen by Will Walton. This is another LGBTQ read because this is about a main character who is gay and he is in love with his straight best friend. And it just sounded like a really cute read. It's very short and it is a debut author. This just got released on May 26th, so this is officially out now, and it just sounds very adorable. The author is also a very cute person, and he did sign this one. I then picked up Confess by Colleen Hoover, and I got to meet the lovely Colleen Hoover, who actually recognized me, which was like a very surreal experience. I wasn't prepared for that at all. I wanted to get like my picture with her and stuff, and then I went up to her and she's like, "You look really familiar." And I'm like, "I do videos on YouTube." And she's like, "Oh, can I have your card?" And I'm like, "Yes," you know, like shaking. It was ridiculous, but she was very sweet, very nice person. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. Sarah Jane of the Book Life loves Colleen Hoover. I've only read Hopeless so far, but I liked the writing style in that, not particularly the story, but the writing style. So I'm looking forward to this one and other ones of hers that I already own. Hopefully gonna read this soon, and again, this one is signed. Colleen Hoover is a gem. This is the only book that I actually bought while I was in New York City, and that is Written in the Stars by Aisha Saeed, I think is how you pronounce it. This I got at the Strand bookstore. It was on sale. This recently came out, and it was on sale for $9 hardcover. A contemporary story about a Pakistani girl who is from an immigrant family, and her parents are very traditional and have a lot of rules for her, and she ends up falling in love with this boy, but they get kind of mad at her for that, end up traveling back to Pakistan to kind of reintroduce her to her roots and stuff, but while she's there, they set her up in an arranged marriage. And it's kind of one of these, like, is this my fate, or can I change my fate, and these kinds of things. So it sounds like a very lovely book. I wanted to go and meet this author at BookCon, but again, her line was insane, so I wasn't able to, but I am really interested in reading this, and the cover is stunning, and it sounds like a very interesting story, and one that I haven't seen a ton of, so I'm very interested to read this one. I also got Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This has been going around BookTube, so I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with it. It's about a Chinese-American family whose eldest daughter dies, and kind of the mystery surrounding that, and the family, and like the culture and everything else, and I'm very interested to read this. The paperback was finally released, so she was there signing the paperback. So there is the signature. I'm very interested to read this one. I've heard nothing but amazing things about it, so I'm glad I finally have my hands on it. I picked up Newt's Emerald by Garth Nix. Garth Nix is one of my favorite authors. He wrote the Sabriel Abhor Sin trilogy that a lot of people are reading, and that the prequel recently came out for last year. I loved that series in high school, so I eternally love him as an author, and I didn't realize he was having a new book, so this is very exciting. It's supposed to be like a Regency romance fantasy satire, kind of. It sounds really cute. I don't even want to read the synopsis. It sounds interesting and funny, so I'm really interested to pick this one up. And again, another really pretty cover. This one comes out October 15th. I then got Legacy of Kings by Eleanor Herman. This is an Alexander the Great retelling. It's going to be a trilogy. It sounds amazing. I didn't think I was going to get this one because it was in a Harlequin teen signing. There was 5 different authors. I didn't go to it because I was in line for another book that I'm going to show you later. And I just didn't think I was going to get it, and I actually ran to Aisha from Bewitching Bibliophile. I will link her information down below. She's lovely. And I mentioned that I really wanted this book and I didn't manage to get it, and the next day she tweeted me and was like, hey, I got an extra copy of this. Do you want it? And I was like, yes, I love you. So she gave me her extra copy. I'm so, so thankful. Thank you so much, Aisha. I really, really wanted this, and I didn't think I was going to get a chance to get it, so I'm really looking forward to this. It sounds like it's going to be a really popular series. Check it out. The actual cover is like really pretty, and it sounds right up my alley, and I'm very excited. I managed to get Tonight the Streets Are Ours by Leila Sales. This is by the same author of The Song Will Save Your Life, which I know is very popular among certain people. A lot of people have been saying it's really awesome. I have not personally read that, but I loved this cover. And it sounds like it could be a cute premise. It's a YA contemporary. It's about a girl who follows this guy's blog or podcast or something, and she's kind of a little bit in love with him, and she finds out that he breaks up with his girlfriend. So she road trips across country to New York City to try to meet up with him, and then has this kind of like adventure in New York City. I don't know if it's with him or somebody else. It sounds a little like it could be weird, but it could also be cute. I'm not really sure how I feel about this one. When I want like a cute contemporary, I'll probably be picking this up. This one comes out September 15th. This next one is really exciting. I was so happy I was able to snag this, and it is Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Graudin. And this is a alternate history World War II story. It is Inglourious Basterds meets Codename Verity is what the synopsis says. Basically, Germany won the war, and there is this motorcycle tournament happening, and the main character wants to compete in this motorcycle tournament because if you win, you get like a private audience with Adolf Hitler, and she wants to kill Adolf Hitler. It sounds really great. I think there's also like shape-shifting or something in it, which is like the wolf thing. It sounds amazing and like a ton of fun and so original, and I'm really excited to read this one. This one comes out in October. I snagged a movie edition of Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. This is a book that I have not read, but me, along with a ton of other people, when we saw the trailer for it a few months ago, I had no interest in reading this book, and then I saw the trailer, and I wanted to read this book. So I've been meaning to pick it up, and then I saw a galley drop magically on the floor in a, book tree, and I was like, I'm gonna grab that, and I did. So now I have an official movie copy. I prefer the other edition of it, the like pretty red, white, and is it red, white, and blue? I don't think it is. Anyway, the colorful edition. I prefer that one, but I'm excited to have this finally. There's a bunch of panels going on for this book. Again, I didn't see them, as I've said before, but I'm excited to finally have this one. I've been hearing wonderful things about it. It's about time that I read it. And I managed to snag a highly coveted copy of Truthwitch by Susan Dennard. This is the first book in her very highly anticipated fantasy series that's coming out, I think in the fall sometime. It's about different kinds of witches. I'm not even going to go into it. Just go and read the synopsis. The cover is beautiful. I'm really excited for this one. There's a beautiful map. I'm really excited that I got my hands on this one. And it is also signed. This one comes out January of 2016, so there's a bit of a wait for it, but hopefully it's worth it. I managed to snag 1,000 Nights by E.K. Johnston. This is a Arabian Nights retelling. There's another Arabian Nights retelling, The Wrath and the Dawn, which just came out, which I also want to read. I think I'm going to read this one first, hopefully. It's a little bit shorter, so I'm really looking forward to this. I'm loving these Arabian Night retellings that are coming out. That is totally my jam. This one was released in October. I got A Million Miles Away by Lara Avery. This one sounds angsty and wonderful. So it's about our main character who is a twin, and her twin ends up passing away, but her twin is dating a guy who is deployed in Afghanistan, and so she ends up trying to finally communicate with him and tell him that the twin has passed away. And they do like a Skype or something, and before she has a chance to tell him, he says how like the twin that passed away, is the only thing keeping him alive, and he can't wait to get back to her, blah, blah, blah. So the twin that's alive can't break it to him that the other twin passed away, so she pretends to be the twin that passed away just to keep him alive, and ends up like kind of falling for him in the meantime. It sounds angsty and wonderful. I think it's a new adult. I'm just really looking forward to it. It's gonna probably produce a lot of tears. I'm ready for it. This one I'm really excited that I managed to snag, and it is Vengeance Road by Erin Bowman. This one is on my list of most anticipated releases for the fall/summer. This is about a girl whose father was murdered because his journal contained an entry about the location of a secret gold mine. So she disguises herself as a boy and goes to this like adventure to figure out like who killed her father, what the whole business is with this, everything else. It's a Western. I'm really looking forward to it. The cover is like everything. It sounds kind of like Indiana Jones in a way. I'm all about it. I'm all about it. This one comes out in September. I also got Hello, Goodbye, and Everything in Between by Jennifer E. Smith. Shannon actually picked this one up for me because I was in another line, so thank you so much, Shannon. But this is another like cutesy contemporary. It's about the same girl that wrote The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight. She always has really long titles, but she always writes these kind of cute contemporaries. It's about a couple who's gonna break up, and they're kind of going over the history of their relationship and if they should or shouldn't break up, I think right before college or something. This one is released in September. I also got Firewalker by Josephine Angelini. This is the second book in a series. I have the first one on my shelf, but I haven't read it yet because I'm awful. I think it's called Trial by Fire. It's about a girl who can, I think, go between worlds or something magical. I'm not completely sure, but I know I wanted to continue with the series when I read the first one, so I want to pick up this one. Also, the cover is stunning, and she did sign this one. Here we go. And this one is released in September. I also got Blood Passage by Heather Demetrios. This is the second book in her Dark Caravan series. It's the Genie series. I really wanted to read the first one and I haven't gotten my hands on it yet, but now that I have the second one, I am compelled to get the first one now as soon as possible. It sounds like something I'm really going to enjoy. Genies and like urban fantasy. It sounds amazing. I really want to read it soon. She also signed this one, which is awesome. This one comes out October of this year. Now we're getting down to the really important stuff, guys. I managed to snag a copy of Armada by Ernest Cline. This one comes out in July, and I really want to pick this up for Kristen of Kappa 9X. This is one of her favorite authors. She loved Ready Player One. I have not read it yet because I am an egg, and I'm really sorry. But I'm really enjoying this one so far. I'm about halfway into it. I'm not going to talk about it. Don't worry, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to post a review until July, but very excited to get this. And again, he did sign it for Kristen. There we go. And Ernest Cline is exactly how you'd imagine him, like how you would think he would be. It's how he is. This is about a guy who loves video games, like sci-fi video games and stuff, and one day he sees the spaceship out of his favorite video game hovering over his school. And everything kind of takes off from there. Then, the most important book of the entire week happened. You guys probably already know. You already know, but it's important and I can't believe that it's sitting in my hand right now. Oh my god! It was Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. I am so excited. I still cannot contain my excitement about this. This is the first book in her new series, which is in the Grisha world, and it is like a heist book with a bunch of different people in it, and I'm very excited. It's a very different story than the Grisha trilogy was, but it's set in the same world, and I cannot wait to get back to the world. It is so wonderful and beautiful, and I'm so excited. And this one, again, is signed, and it comes out September of this year. Really looking forward to it. This book I waited in one of the longest lines for, and it was so crazy and just completely insanity, and that was Lair of Dreams by Libba Bray. This is the second book in the Diviners series. There's going to be 4 books in the series. I thought there was only going to be 2, but there's going to be 4. There's going to be 4. This is a brick of a book, and it's been postponed a ton of times. I actually just picked up the Diviners a little bit ago because I haven't read it yet because I've heard that this has been delayed so much that I was in no hurry to read it. But now that I have this one, I really want to read the first one. I'm probably going to do it sometime in the fall or something, but again, this was a line that I waited in, and this is hefty. I mean, you could hurt somebody with this book. This one is going to be released in August. This one is the most random one, and I'm still not really sure what this is about, and it is Illumini by Jay Kristoff and Amy Kaufman, and it is a hardcover arc, which is just insanity, and it's a lot. It's not written like a normal novel. It's supposed to be kind of like blacked out CIA documents. It's about intergalactic kind of war. It's sci-fi. Go look up the synopsis because there's not even a synopsis of this on the cover anywhere. It's a lot. So it looks like it'll be a quick read even though it's huge, but I still don't know what it's about. And yeah, it's a little insane. This one comes out October 20th. And last but certainly not least, I got The Invasion of the Tierling by Erica Johansson. This is a beautiful finished copy because I guess it's already out. I'm not completely sure, but they were not handing out arcs, they were handing out finished copies, which is wonderful. This is the second book in the Queen of the Tierling trilogy, and I've not read the first book yet. It's been one of those books I've been waiting to read and waiting to read. I just haven't yet. It's on my shelf. I'm gonna read it soon. I'm really looking forward to it. I've heard amazing things. Sarah actually keeps talking about it, so I need to read it, like soon. And now that I have the sequel, I can just kind of marathon through them and then wait patiently for the last book. Alright guys, that is it for my BEA BookCon experience and haul. Comment down below any of your thoughts on anything. If you went to BEA, if you didn't, if you want to go in the future, what you think of the books, what you think I should read first. Because I don't know. I'm reading Armada now, but after that, I still don't know what I'm going to read next. Most of you are probably going to be like, Six of Crows, duh! And I'm like, yes, but I also just want to like stare at it from a distance because I'm overwhelmed by the fact that I own it now. Like, it's overwhelming. So, comment down below, let me know what you think I should read next, because I have no idea. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see all of you guys soon. Bye!